And it's ludicrously expensive per month for an artist that wants to use digital. So for that, I know that a lot of people use Paint Tool Sai or Clip Studio Paint. And those are like one-time purchases, and you get to use them forever.
Yep, there's also Corel Painter that's pretty good. See, GIMP is free Photoshop. It's not great for this, though.
It's pretty bad.
Yeah, GIMP is a good image editor. GIMP is not a good painting program. I've seen people do stuff in GIMP, and it ain't worth it. All right, let's see. So I am here, Shell is Sandwich. Let's see. We're just going to... I'm going to warp to Meteor Castle, and we're just going to wander around for a bit. I got to get some other things. Let's see. You just got an art bundle from Humble Bundle. You know, that's actually something I should probably... So, for people watching on Twitch...
Yes, we use Photoshop
not Twitch. Still. For those of you people watching on YouTube, we're talking about art. Michelle and I are artists, and people are asking about like how to start. And this is actually kind of useful.
And drawing peripherals and programs and such.
So this is actually really useful advice as far as things go. If you're not in a rush, it's actually really, really useful to go out of your way to pay attention to Humble Bundle. Because it's not just art. Programming, art, video games, like creation. Loads of things specifically will show up on the Humble Bundle every once in a while. Because it's not all games anymore. So I've specifically bought several editing programs on Humble Bundle. I don't really use them, but it's nice to have as a backup just in case Adobe ever kicks me off of like the Creative Suite, like if they raise the price to the point where it's too expensive. But so like, if you specifically pay attention to the Humble Bundle site, you know, maybe at least once a year, they will likely have some really insane sale for a hobby that you might be interested in, and I'd say it's worth it. At least, you know, being patient and waiting. Otherwise, stuff gets pricey. Like, I don't know. I feel like we're spoiled by video games going on sale for ultra cheap because there's such a high competition. But as far as like art programs, editing programs, 3D modeling, and whatnot, there's like a handful. And you really have to just like hope that goes on sale or something. I really wish I had bought ZBrush years ago. And maybe updates haven't been free, but I remember when ZBrush was like $60, and I was like, oh man, maybe I should pick it up, but I'm a poor college student, I'll just wait until I have a job. That was a mistake.
Why, do they have a subscription plan now, or
I have no idea. I just
price?
know the last time I looked at ZBrush, it was stupid pricey.
As in hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars?
Yeah. Either, both. Not sure. I have learned best friends. Let's see. Reach the tower, convert items in battle, synthesize stuff, discover landmarks, exploration. Oh, right. We haven't been doing exploration logs. That'll be a later thing. There we go. So we want to go back to the mountain. I don't know, there's a couple of things we want to do. I want more resources, obviously. But I think we actually, the stuff that we need specifically is out in the fields. So I might head there next. Or we could just wait for that forest that I think we're headed for next anyway. What is up, Shell? Where is your brain at?
How to fix my painting setup.
It's fair.
Because after the reformatting of the computer, yeah, it's nice to get all your files off and put them back on. Easy peasy. But then having to configure all of your setups so that they're back the way that they were. because unfortunately Windows has an incompatibility with Photoshop and other programs and drawing tablets and such where they're like, use Windows Ink. And then it makes... I like to record my painting processes so that I can eventually put them up on YouTube and such. But you don't want to have giant express key shortcuts popping up under your cursor every time you use them. Alt, Control, Shift. And
it is kind of incredible how much simpler things were even just like 10 years ago. Well, you know, like back when we first really got started digitally painting, it was just like, plug it in and go. And I get why Microsoft is trying to go with these, like,
well, the thing is,
tablet
Microsoft,
pen whatnots.
well,
but
the thing is, they have for Windows computers that actually serve as tablets, so that's the problem.
yeah,
But you should be able to designate whether or not your machine uses that. You should say, hey, my laptop does not have touch pen functions. It doesn't fold over backwards and become a Surface. This is not a Microsoft Surface. This shouldn't be on this computer. You're stealing my blanket.
you need to make sure you have enough slack so I can steal some blanket. Yeah, it's a good thing we didn't do Ring Fit today. My shoulder still hurts.
My shoulder's hurting. I mean,
Yeah.
you fell down some stairs.
Yeah, I fell downstairs.
We were over at Stumpness doing stuff, and you slipped on some wet stairs.
Yep.
Wooden stairs.
Yeah, well,
It was like 3 steps,
they're-
but
yeah, it's 3 steps, but they're mossy. Because everything around here is mossy, which should be unsurprisingly. Which shouldn't be surprising. But effectively, yeah, it's super mossy. It was raining all day. It has been raining for the past, like, who knows. I don't think I've even looked outside that much. But, yeah, stepped outside the house, barely even got my foot down, and I was already flying down the stairs. And so wrenched my arm around to catch myself. Didn't actually take too much damage in the process, but apparently wrenched my shoulder, which I didn't notice until we were leaving.
well, that's because when you fell backwards, you stopped your fall with your arm. You should be thankful that you didn't break a wrist there. I know that I've known a couple of people that have broken their wrists that way.
Probably worse if I had, like, bruised my tailbone, though.
That's true.
Compared to my, like, current malady.
Because then it would make sitting painful.
Oh, yeah.
But if you broke your wrist,
True.
then you wouldn't be able to play
Well,
games.
then I just play really slow games until it heals.
You'd probably have to play games you could play with one hand.
Which is part of the reason why I was playing Terraforming Mars earlier. Which, by the way, board game version of Terraforming Mars,
Pretty
really good. Like, actually, possibly better. It was more streamlined, and it did all the extra fiddly bits for you.
I mean, I figured it would.
Which, yeah, that actually helps a lot. But yeah, turn-based games would be okay. Yeah, most JRPGs, I could play this game one-handed. In fact, I'm just gonna play one-handed for a little while. Because all the important buttons are within reach. Admittedly, my hand looks stupid with the way it's holding this controller, and I'm not going to be able to move that well, but... Yeah, I fell down some stairs, specifically at Stump's house, right before we joined them for the charity stream yesterday, which, you know, worked fine, and my arm doesn't hurt that much, but it does hurt.
You did get 2 sort of long, thin scrapes on your other wrist,
Yeah, I scraped
though.
my wrist, which I didn't even notice at first, and then I was just like, oh, ow.
So did you brush up against the wood of the step? Was that what happened, or...?
Probably. I was not exactly paying attention.
They weren't
to
incredibly
everything.
deep, but they're pronounced.
Yep.
It looks like a cat scratched him.
Yeah. Yeah, actually, that's a pretty good explanation. But yeah, so... I'm not too worried about, like, injuries, especially during this period. Obviously, I wouldn't want to break a wrist, because that'd be painful and very uncomfortable. But...
Oh yeah, and I've had wrist issues for a good year or so. And it gets exacerbated every once in a while, depending on what
Like, it would be so much worse if I was an esports, like, champion or something like that.
Oh, yeah. Actually, it must be tough when people start developing arthritis or something in their fingers.
I think with a lot of esports people, you usually age out well before you start developing stuff like that.
But the thing is, for video... So, obviously, for football, the oldest football players I'd ever seen were typically quarterbacks because they don't really need to do much other than catch the ball and then throw it off unless they, you know, run it into the touchdown zone, well, which isn't too common. So, yeah, they tend to age out at around 40-something. A lot of Olympic champions, you don't even see them go into their mid-30s typically unless it's more of a finesse or experience-based sport as opposed to something that requires strength and longevity.
We had an Olympic training camp up in New Mexico.
Yeah.
Where we lived. And it was mostly swimming, but it wasn't all swimming. And specifically, there were a number of people that I knew that specifically were heartbroken to know that they would not be the correct age. Or, why did I do this? They were not going to be the correct age for the sport they wanted to do. So gymnastics, I think, and maybe a couple other things.
Gymnastics, you start losing your flexibility in your 20s. So a lot of gymnasts have to be in their late teens or mid to late teens. It's ridiculous.
But it was to the point where effectively the gym was on a like X year cycle and would only take students from certain age groups because and that was just super tragic.
Right. That's one reason why I enjoyed the idea of being an artist was that you're judged based on the works that you create, not your physical appearance or your physical prowess, if you know what I mean.
Yep.
So for sports, eventually, physically, you're going to be outmoded. And then for actors and actresses and such, I mean, some actors, they get to morph into new roles. They get to go from the child to the young action hero to the more experienced action hero to the mentor character to the father character to the old diabolical villain, or I don't know. Like they're for guys there tends to be a broad spectrum. Unfortunately for a lot of women, you start getting phased out by the time you hit 40. Which is sad. But
there's at least been an uptick in slightly older women getting interesting and leading roles as opposed to supporting roles.
But a lot of them tend to be leading roles in biopics about other older women in different time periods.
I guess I was just thinking of shoot, I'm terrible at names.
But don't you notice it's like video games and sci-fi fantasy stories. Typically, most in anime, it's almost always teenagers.
Yeah.
In a lot of action adventure flicks, it tends to be people in their 20s or 30s.
I still would like to play a JRPG series about middle-aged people that have like already been the heroes and are just still going.
Oh yeah.
Like, I don't know. I think it would be kind of fun to play. You know what actually would be really fun JRPG to play?
Okay, but I was still on the whole thing about ages. Why do you think gaming, especially professional gaming, do you think people would age out of it, or do you think it's because the genre, the type of sport hasn't been around long enough for there to be people in their 40s?
No. People age out of it.
Really?
Oh, yeah. I knew a YouTuber got started when we did. So what, 23? 24, something like that?
People are bringing up the fact that there's like the children that are thousands of years old. That doesn't count. They still look like a kid.
Yep. And yeah, short gathering spree. I'm trying to find the other locations in the Meteor Castle, but I don't think we're gonna find them. Not without extra abilities. I wasn't sure if there are other maps, so I've just been looking around. Let's see. So, I wanted to go back to that, the idea of middle-aged people in, like, anime or JRPGs. I really want to play...
Being in leading roles, for once?
Yeah, or maybe not necessarily leading roles, but I'd love to play a JRPG where, like, the hero goes off on his journey, and the parents are just like, well, I guess let's just do our own thing? Like, I don't know. I'd love to play a JRPG where the hero party rolls off, and, you know, it's a bunch of kids, and the parents are like, well, we're not just gonna sit around, so they all gear up and go out too, themselves, and end up maybe saving the world instead. You know? Or your head's not in the game.
Sorry, I was reading about what the typical lifespan of esport person is. Really only 4 years?
Yeah. I think the age range, it's a little bit more generous than that, depending on which sport it is. Oh, there's a quest here. But generally, from what I know, it's between the ages of 16 and... I think it's 16 and 23 is, like, peak esports. And then after that, you start slowing down. Which sounds insane, but it makes sense. Because a lot of esports require, like, ridiculous reflexes and just reaction times.
But then what do you do afterwards? Let's go say that you made your couple $100,000.
That's one of the big issues with esports right now, is that there isn't an afterwards. There is a growing population of people that want to go off and become an esports star, without actually a whole lot of consideration into, hey, what am I going to do afterwards? So,
well, what happens with the Olympic swimmers and stuff? I mean, some of them might become trainers.
A lot of them can become trainers. A number of them manage to get more brand deals. Part of it is Olympians make way more money
than esports, yeah.
Yeah.
But in esports, have any of them ever transitioned into, say, being a streamer?
Yes,
or
many of
YouTubers
them.
And such?
There's a considerable amount of streamers that were ex-esport stars that managed to make something of themselves in the aftermath. Because they're still good. They're not, like, peak, you know, competition levels, but they're more than capable enough to hold their own on, like, a regular league, if that makes sense. Oh, that's where the side quest is, I think. Maybe? Either that or it's in this next room. Oh, no, here it is.
Oh. Huh? Oh, Mr. Goat! Wait, did he just leap down?
Well, teleported.
I mean, you did see the blue flames surrounding
There's
him.
a torch behind it.
I just thought that looked epic. Ah, sorry. You really didn't have to come down to see me. Still, thanks for everything you've done for me. Not that you can even understand what I'm saying. Huh? What's up, Mr. Goat? Oh, I didn't get a hoof print this time. I wonder what's going on. I mean, there was a monster creeping. Where is it? Where did it go?
Don't know.
Where's the spy? Wasn't it behind one of those rocks? Was it all the way over there?
It was like over here-ish.
I don't see it. Can we try to figure out where its vantage point was?
Well, the goat went this way. I don't know. We'll find it later.
Well, I was wanting to find the rock creature that was spying on us.
But, I mean, we would have passed where it was.
Mm-hmm.
Because it went this way.
Yeah, because it was here. That's awfully suspicious.
Let's see, is this game voiced in Japanese, but only text in English? Correct. It is sub, not dub. We're doing all the voice acting, but there
were so many cutscenes we would have been silent for much of the game, and the pacing of the English text didn't really match up well with the Japanese voice acting. So we were having issues clicking through the scenes.
Yep.
So we just decided to voice it ourselves.
Because it's not so hard. Also, thank you, Glarvel, for the raid and welcome to. Well, what? I'm surprised at how much stuff I can carry. By the way.
Well, I don't really know how small those components are, but yeah.
Well, that backpack I got apparently made a huge difference.
Mm-hmm. Pentanite.
Oh, that didn't work.
So if you initially get a hit on them, does that lower their defense, or what does it do to their stats?
Stuns. If you hit them with the axe, it lowers their defense. If you hit them with the staff regular, you just get the extra 10 AP. No matter what, you get the extra 10 AP as long as you hit one of them. All right. I need to actually use these. Oh yeah, axe reduces defense, hammer stuns. I don't know what the scythe did.
Now the interesting thing is, when you were attempting to collect things earlier today, you ran into a cutscene.
Yeah,
but
that was in the mountain. That was in the hidden village.
Oh, okay. Well, then we'll have to go back there.
Yep.
Because I warned him. I warned him that there would be several mini cutscenes.
I was really hoping I could avoid a cutscene. The answer is, apparently I should have just came here.
Yeah, because aside from seeing the goat, you haven't really encountered much more, but who knows?
Right, so that's the guy that drops the weird soul-looking things. Holy crap, how much does this bag carry? Actually, we did fill up earlier on something. Oh well. Surprise.
What did he get tangled up on?
We picked up spiderweb. Susan was complaining about getting tangled.
I think those are cute. They must have a bunch of canned lines for every item that you can pick up.
Or at least certain ones.
Ooh, a rare drop occurred.
Yeah. They're not uncommon, surprisingly. Okay. We're just gonna go back to the Atelier. Then we'll go check for that cutscene. I'm clearly... My inventory is a lot bigger than I gave it credit for.
Now, is your stash infinite?
Yes. No. 3,000 items?
Okay. Because he dumped so much back there, I was just wondering.
I actually end up using a fair bit of resources. So... Cutscene. There we go.
This place is so hot. I'm already drenched in sweat.
Well, it is a volcano after all.
But the opening is higher up, right? Shouldn't it be cooler down here? The opening is higher up, but I imagine there's plenty of magma pooled beneath the surface. Which is where the heat here would be coming from.
Yep. It's what's known as geothermal energy.
Geothermal, so that means like, the ground that's hot? Which means there might be one around here.
Huh? Won what?
That was Lent.
Oh, was it? Huh? Won what?
A hot spring. Nice, toasty, warm water coming up from the ground. Nature's bathtub. Something to keep us clean and healthy, right? Oh, but don't peep or I'll hit you with a bomb.
Save all that for after we find one. What makes you think what makes you think I'd be trying to peep? But even if there was one around here, there are monsters everywhere. It's not exactly a relaxing area.
Yeah, that's a good point. Oh well, let's just keep moving. Still, now I can't help but wonder. Wouldn't mind taking a quick dip. Huh? Did you say something? No. Come on everyone, let's go.
God damn it. I just...
Though,
The first time I ever learned about...
unless you know something has a consistent temperature, I would never go into a natural hot spring.
Yeah. I was going to say, the first time I ever learned about Japanese hot springs was in Ranma. And so, like, I can't escape that. Nearly 20 years later.
Now, was it hot water or cold water that would...
Heck if I remember.
Okay. Because I think
it was hot water would turn him into a girl.
And then cold water into a boy.
I remember
like that.
I read the whole manga at one point. Like in college, I went back to read the rest of it. And the answer
then what
was,
happened when it rained?
He turned into a dude.
Probably, if it's cold.
Yep. But
so then taking a bath or going into hot springs
would
be warm.
They usually came up with convenient excuses to somehow turn him into a girl because, yeah, anime. Hey. But
wait, are people saying it the other way?
Oh, is it the other way?
Is it cold equals girl and hot equals boy? Oh.
Huh.
Well, then that would be interesting for the hot springs. Imagine if a bunch of girls are like, come on, Ranma, let's take a dip. And he's like,
I think most of the people he actually spent time with were quite aware of his condition.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Because he was shit at hiding it.
Wait, his grandpa fell into the panda spring, so did the pandas curse him?
Was it his grandpa? I thought it was just his dad. Maybe not. I forget. But no, his grandpa would turn into a panda, and more or less perpetually stayed a panda.
Oh, so then what spring did he fall into?
The girl one.
The girl spring.
Yeah. There was also
I thought it was a curse or something.
There was a duck spring, maybe a hog spring?
Oh, so people just turn into animals then.
Sort of. There was like one guy that fell into multiple at once, and so he was just this weird chimera. I only vaguely remember. And like, I reread the whole thing, but just like, good lord. It just was weird.
And was there any way to cleanse yourself of the curse, or it was just forever?
I don't think so. I don't think he had gotten rid of it by the end of the series. Oh yeah. So all of the different springs had something drown and die in there, and they became cursed as a result.
Oh, so did a lady drown in his?
I guess so.
And a panda drowned in the other one?
Yeah. God, it was such a weird series. That was not a good introduction to what anime was.
Eh. Man, imagine if every body of water was like that.
What? Cursed?
Cursed with whatever died in it.
Fish.
It'd be tons of fish.
Everybody would be fish.
But plenty of things have died in the ocean. There would be a multitude of things.
Primarily fish, though. Mm-hmm. Like, I guess the question would be...
Plankton. Plankton would be the number one death.
Would it be the most
microorganisms.
Recent thing that died there, or...
The most prevalent thing that died there.
Yeah, or just an amalgamation of all the things that died there.
Oh my.
Because all of those
could
result in very weird and bad.
I'm pretty sure humans have died in almost every large body
so
of
you'd
water.
have a little bit of human in there, but compared to the amount of fish that die in the ocean, for example, or plankton or whatnot, like, you would just become composite fish.
What about things like jellyfish? Sharks, whales, amoeba. That's getting a little too extreme now. No, I assume in the case of the hot springs, it's because nothing naturally lives inside them, so it would have to be something that was external that fell in and died.
And not just die in there, it'd have to drown in there. Okay, so...
But... Oh.
Yeah, no, that's
Drown.
a good point. Do seagulls and birds drown in the ocean much? Because
Maybe.
no way is it humans that have drowned the most in the ocean, probably.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if a lot of seals drowned. I know that part of seal training and beluga training and like their parents have to show them how to find gaps in the ice. And sometimes, depending on how cold the temperatures are, a place that would have been exposed to the surface that, you know, would have been a convenient hole to use as a means to breathe, sometimes they ice over before they can get back and then they drown. Or there's a polar bear camping it.
Yeah, but... Yeah.
At which point, then you get killed by
Yeah,
being
but that's
dragged
not
out.
drowning.
I know. I'm just saying that there might be reasons why you don't want to go up to the air pockets or the air holes that you normally would have gone to.
I'm just trying to imagine composite fish.
I don't know. I don't really want to dwell on how things can drown in water.
Yeah. What is the weirdest anime you've seen or manga? Oh wait, no, you talked to as Blue Gender.
That wasn't the weirdest one, but it's one
Okay.
that I wasn't inclined to watch ever again, even though I won it at a cosplay competition.
Damn, that does damage.
But there's plenty that we stopped watching over the years.
Heck, I stopped watching Full Metal Alchemist because the dumb recap episode. Because I was watching it when it was coming out, and I got like partway through the recap episode. Because, you know, the episodes were weekly. So, recap episode comes out, and I just like, it killed all momentum for me. Because I didn't want to watch it, but there was still plot there. Because I think you had Hohenheim going around in like the background of the recap episode.
Ah, okay.
And he was like doing small amounts of stuff. Always skip the recap unless they sneak plot in there, and then it's dumb and makes me mad.
What's interesting is for the series that I've read as manga, I very rarely ever watch the anime for them.
I will rarely do so unless it's something that I'm really passionate about. Like, there's no way in hell I'd ever watch One Piece. Doesn't matter if there's like good stuff in the anime that isn't in the manga. Just keeping up with the manga is hard enough for me. Trying to keep up with both, good lord.
Well, the other thing too is I enjoy seeing the illustrations sometimes more than the animation.
Yeah.
It depends on how well animated it is, and whether or not the music and the voice acting and everything is exemplary. There are also instances where the manga is very different from the anime. For instance, one that I was introduced to growing up was Escaflowne, and the manga was very different from the anime. Even down to character designs.
Still haven't read the manga for that. I feel like I should. I can't imagine it would take too long. I can only handle harem, reverse or otherwise.
Escaflowne wasn't a harem.
Yeah, it was. She had two dudes, like...
That's considered a love triangle.
That's still the same thing. No, you're right.
No.
I still do not like. I don't even.
You don't like love triangles.
No.
Well, the weird thing about that one, it was a love quintadrangle or something, because Hitomi was torn between Alan and Vaughn.
That's my problem.
Alan had gotten together with the old princess,
same flavor.
But then she was okay. Let me try to map it out. I want to map it out now. So Hitomi, aka Girl from Earth, gets teleported to, what was it even called? I forget. It's been such a long time since I've seen it. Gaia? Maybe it was just called Gaia. But teleported to essentially a moon or a secondary planet that's orbiting Earth that no one can see. And yeah, so there's Prince Vaughn, who they argue constantly, but of course, you know, they start having feelings for each other. But she is off the bat quite smitten with Alan, who is just the epitome of what a knight is. And the thing about him is he actually had a tryst with the princess from another land, but then she got married off to someone else and died. And then she had a little sister, and the little sister always had a crush on Alan. But then this little sister was also potentially betrothed to another dude. And then there's also Vaughn's cat friend, and she likes him and is very jealous of Hitomi. And what else? I think that's just about it.
See, I don't like this because no matter what, like, half the characters end up either disappointed or just in, like, shitty relationships. And because then you get stuck on the, like, will they, won't theys, and, like, all the other garbage, and it's just like, no.
Mm-hmm.
Just, like, have them get together, partway through the story, and then tell the story. Don't make the story about the weird relationship. Love screw wangles.
The thing is, they always like to play up the instance where, oh, never mind.
Oh, we've already
the
done
wrong
that.
way.
Damn it.
They really like to play up the instance where someone is belligerent and doesn't want to acknowledge that they have feelings for someone, or they're too proud. But then someone else starts creeping on their love interest, and they go, "Oh no!"
I think my problem is
You're
just,
not
like,
getting near
no
them.
one has innovated on that story in for freaking ever, and so it becomes almost nauseating. Like reading those stories.
But yeah, what I loved most about Escaflowne was the fact that they had mecha knights, Gymeliths, and that music.
Where the hell am I going? Wait, am I going back to the ship?
It was probably in Latin.
Or am I going back to town?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I'm making bait. That's what I was making. My problem with the with how they handled the Escaflowne is that the mechs were really cool, and then they kind of just stopped having them as much.
Well, the problem is if you could just summon mechs all the time and use them to end every battle.
Gundam does fine.
Yes, but all of their battles are between mechs and in space.
And it's great.
Whereas in Escaflowne, there were instances where there were armies, and there was instances of just one-on-one swords play, and you know, they also the mechs I'm thinking about it.
We should
I've
watch
never
some
seen
Gundam. We should. The problem is 00 is probably my favorite. Seed is probably the most, like, pure Gundam. 00 just has a little bit more, like, of an easy to follow plot that isn't just shooting. Gundam Seed is ridiculous. I've never finished it because it gets screwy.
Didn't we try watching Macross and that didn't go well? Or which
we
Macross
watched
were we
like one of the
even trying?
Macross movies, and Macross had its time, and then whoever's in charge of it has decided that they are not interested in keeping that series alive with quality.
Neat! I made a bug net. Although I'm not exactly a fan of catching bugs. Still, some bugs can make really strong thread, which is pretty useful when it comes to alchemy. So I guess it won't hurt to have a net on hand. I just have to catch whatever I happen to find. Bug net. Be equipped and used.
Yeah, it's the usual.
Okay, so maybe when we find something flitting about.
Let's see, Iron-Blooded Orphans is pretty good. I tried watching it. It was good. I think my beef was the love triangle, in fact. Like, I have a very low tolerance for Grubbin's relationships.
Yoko Kanno. Oh, maybe she sang the opening. I enjoy her music. I always like that one.
Venom Death Scythe's your favorite design. Mine too. Death Scythe was awesome. Oh. Oh, fishing rod net. I guess this is actually worth it.
I'd like to see the anime for Magic Knight Rare someday. I read the manga. That's been a long time. And I really like Clamp series.
Wasn't Rare the one that I was making fun of?
Yes, I think we tried watching the first episode, but it was very 80s. Or maybe the anime was from the late 80s or early 90s. I don't know. We had some fun at one point watching Record of Lodos War. That definitely had a more serious tone, but the author actually based it off of a D&D campaign that he had. So I thought that was fun.
I like the idea of it. The problem is the storytelling was super... Like, you could tell it was very much based on their D&D campaign because the continuity for it was just random. It was just like, shit would happen, and I understand how it could have happened, but they didn't... It was very much one of those where they skipped show and tell and just skipped to the aftermath half the time. Like, characters would just disappear and not come back, or, like, appear as though they were important. And it's like, oh, this is probably where, like, somebody else just joined the campaign.
People are asking about Slayers. I really liked the beginning of Slayers, but we haven't seen more of it. Why did we stop watching it?
It was... I mean, just in general, I can't handle high-pitched, sassy, It's mainly the high-pitched, but the, like... The main characters...
She's very exuberant, let's just put it that way.
Yeah, her voice just got to me. And her behavior.
Would you have rather watched the dubbed version?
I think I've tried both.
Or subversion? Subversion, sorry.
Slayers gets kind of fan servicey.
Yeah. I just want to find more sci-fi and fantasy series that aren't cripplingly depressing or overly fan service oriented. It's hard to find stuff that's wholesome. People are saying only OVAs in the movies. Okay, then yeah, we should try watching the anime again at some point.
Yeah, I think it's also, I just have such a huge backlog of JRPGs that I want to get through that anime is a little harder for me.
Didn't we start watching Outlaw Star? People are throwing
we
titles.
We did. Outlaw Star was okay. Didn't they kill off like a bunch of characters immediately? Oh, no. That was the other one. That was the Bounty Hunter.
You mean Iria?
Yeah.
I still want to continue with Iria because they have this creature. What was it called again? It just looked like some monster that... It was a monster that had been in a lot of live-action horror films in Japan. And they made it into some kind of alien entity for the series. I just like the design aesthetic of that one. We did really enjoy Little Witch Academia.
Sort of. I liked the idea of it more than the actual execution. Because it very quickly just went to plot instead of... Like, some of the characters just straight up disappeared. Oh, hey, compass.
Oh. Cool. All done. I've always wanted a compass of my own. I know my way around the village, but I always get lost as soon as I step foot outside. I guess I just have a bad sense of direction. But that doesn't matter now that I have a compass. From this day forward, I'll never get lost again.
Displays information on the minimap. Change depending on what compass you have equipped. Best one you can.
So you make different compasses for different items that you want to pursue?
Maybe? We haven't gotten that far down. There we go. Then she had a bunch of different styles of series. I remember trying to watch a little bit of Tenchi Muyo. That one was most definitively harem, though. I remember the one that was like straight up Star Wars, where you had a lightsaber. I think that was it.
Wait, what?
Yeah. It got weird. I think we rented it from, I think we had rented it specifically from Blockbuster, and it was just like, hey, this is an anime. And I just straight up couldn't follow it because I didn't know who any of the characters were.
Because it was in the middle of a series?
No.
No?
I think it just assumed you knew who the characters were. Straight up use a bug net in here. That's weird.
One of the first manga I read was Inuyasha. I still have a soft spot for it. And then I had read Naruto and Shaman King and Yu-Gi-Oh! And what were some of the other big ones? I mean, I had a Shonen Jump subscription for a number of years. Well, not a subscription. Wait a minute. No, I only ever purchased them physically, so I never had a subscription. But back when they used to carry it in stores, I'd pick up a number of issues. And they had Dragon Ball Z and Hikaru no Go. There were other ones aside from Naruto and Shaman King and such.
I'm still...
Oh, One Piece they had in there too.
I'm still blown away at how successful DBZ became over the years. Because DBZ's storytelling is just garbage.
Isn't it just I'll unleash my final form or power?
Yeah.
And then they just start screaming at each other and punching.
Pretty much.
And characters die and get brought back to life.
There's not a whole lot of attention to DBZ.
Also, everyone's bemuscled.
I mean, that's kind of the fun of it. Like, I'm kind of fine with ridiculously over-muscled characters.
I Full Metal Alchemist. What are some other things? I read Chrono Crusade. What were some other ones? Never did read Tsubasa, but my friends liked it a lot.
Tsubasa was the series where I finally gave up on Clamp.
Really?
Yeah, because it was so good, and then the plot got very weird and confusing, and it felt like they had written themselves into a hole. Maybe they actually had a plan with it, but it certainly felt more just kind of like, oh shit, we don't know how to end this. And just kind of did a whatever. And maybe other people will have had different experiences with it, but like for me.
Oh, we haven't caught up on any episodes of. Have there been more Demon Slayer episodes, or no? This season ended, and okay, because we liked that a lot. Let's see. We started watching. Was it Black Clover?
Yep.
That's with the grimoires, right?
Yep.
And let's see. There was Shield Hero.
Black Clover is dumb fun though.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I've been reading Black Clover, and it has some of the best shonen pacing I have ever seen. It's not that the story is good, it's that it doesn't linger long enough to make you think, this game, this manga's kind of butts. It's just like, nope, gotta go, just doesn't even matter.
First anime watch was Sailor Moon. I don't know which was the first I saw, but Sailor Moon and Pokemon were probably my first films. Like the films that I ever saw when I was probably about maybe 6 or 7. So yeah, those were the first 2 series that I ever recognized were anime. I think my cousin tried showing me Dragon Ball Z. And I was like, oh, interesting. But yeah, I had Sailor Moon R, Promise of the Rose, on VHS, and I convinced all my friends to watch it with me, and we would run around pretending to be the Sailor Scouts.
I don't think I really watched much anime with anybody I knew. DBZ for a bit.
By the time middle school rolled around, my whole friend group was just ensconced in manga and anime and such. A lot of Studio Ghibli. We absolutely loved them. I think between my friends and I, we've cosplayed probably all the female protagonists. I had Princess Mononoke, another friend of mine had been Nausicaa, another friend Kiki, another friend Sheeta. What other? Yeah, so I don't know if anyone was oh yeah, another friend was Chihiro. So yeah, pretty much we had covered Kiki's Delivery Service, Princess Mononoke, Spirited Away, Nausicaa, The Valley of the Wind, and Lapita, Castle in the Sky. Is it Ghibli or Ghibli? I think the correct pronunciation is Ghibli, but yeah, I was 13 when I cosplayed for the first time, and it was Princess Mononoke.
It takes a while to get through some of these. I kind of wish after a certain point you created more than just the 3 at a time from some of these recipes. Am I just trying to make extremely... Oh, we need fragrant honey tree. Okay, gathering tools. Well, we need to go find fragrant honey tree stuff anyway. I'm gonna use a fishing rod.
Oh yeah, and when it comes to other early anime that we watched, pretty much was the Saturday morning cartoons. Digimon, Metabots. Let's see, what else? Ultimate Muscle for a while. And then eventually they did have Shaman King and Yu-Gi-Oh! I'm trying to think of what other ones they had. I mean, they would still have American shows every once in a while, too.
Staff woodcutter's axe. Maple Delta. Uh-oh. The heck is the Maple Delta?
Maple Delta?
I'm assuming Maple Delta. Oh, wait. Well, that's just a request. Oh no. Okay. So we can't actually go to this place. Maybe? Go to the Northern Fork. Yeah, so it's where we have to go. Okay, because earlier I was trying to check that out and it was like, by the way, go back to the Atelier, and I'm like, okay, guess not.
This looks new.
We've been here. That's the that's where we had to race to.
Ah, okay.
I have been running slow this entire time.
New discovery, roadside garden.
Let's see. Anything fancy up here? The flowers.
Serenity flower.
Spring princess. Fog. Fog.
Mm-hmm.
All fog. What about tree? Oh. Oh, not that. Not that. Okay. Oh, log. Got it. Let's see. Has more plot been found? Nope. Been gathering and crafting and wandering around and talking about anime.
Yeah, we did need to go. Oh, this is the Crimson Forest.
Yep. The Maple Delta.
Pretty.
There's a lot of bones around here.
Yeah, it doesn't look good.
Everything is dead.
Wow.
You must be really surprised, Ryza. Your face is all scrunched up.
What do you mean, scrunched up? It's just my face expressing the natural shock I'm feeling. Look around. Everywhere you look, it's bright red. Leaves and everything. It's so mysterious.
Yeah, it almost looks like it's painted on. You think it could be some kind of paint tree?
Maybe there's something in the soil that causes it. Ah, good point. It could be a special kind of tree. Something in the ground or actual paint.
I'm not so sure about the paint thing. If you want to study it more, why not bring back a sapling? You could grow it at home or at the Atelier.
Oh, good idea. We could do some experiments. Nah, I don't think so.
Huh? Why not?
Lottie won't be around long enough to see the tree grow. And besides, I think it's better if we just experienced it here and create a nice memory together.
Huh? You sure that's what you want?
Create a nice memory. Yeah, I like that. So let's just take a little time and look it all over together.